Currently, the United States continues to deploy troops directly to the Middle East. Now, even medical units and special forces have been urgently dispatched to the region. American military power is steadily being concentrated in the Middle East again. Let's dive in and take a closer look today. It has been confirmed that large transport aircraft are taking off from U.S. military bases where special operations forces are stationed, heading to the Middle East. These special operations forces are known to be elite troops capable not only of simple security missions, but also of conducting combat search operations, rescue operations, and direct strikes on enemy key facilities. Some analysis suggests this deployment prepares for possible future high-intensity military operations. Special operations forces are units capable of carrying out missions deep inside enemy territory, and they are among the first assets the U.S. military utilizes when considering military options. Because they can perform missions like elimination operations, precision strikes against key individuals, precision strikes, intelligence gathering, and hostage rescue, they are likely to play a key role as tensions rise in the Middle East. Air Force capabilities are also being rapidly strengthened. The B-1 strategic bombers deployed in the UK are capable of long-range precision strikes, and it is reported that they are maintaining a high level of alert in preparation for large-scale airstrike operations. The B-1 bomber is equipped with long-range flight capabilities and the ability to carry a large payload of weapons, making it a force that can be deployed in operations targeting major military facilities within Iran. F-16S from Germany's Spangdahlem Air Base and F-35S from the UK's RAF Lakenheath have reportedly moved toward the Middle East. The F-35 is a modern fighter jet for precision strikes and evading air defenses, while the F-16 is a versatile asset for air and ground attack missions. There is speculation that these assets may be deployed around key US allies such as Jordan and Israel. President Trump continues to increase pressure on Iran. He has repeatedly warned that if Iran attacks ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz or carries out additional attacks against the US and its allies, there could be a strong response. Currently, the United States appears to be working to secure both diplomatic options and military response capabilities at the same time. This equipment and key units were moved after Iranian forces attacked a US base in Jordan, killing 3 soldiers, and another US soldier was killed in Iraq while disposing of unexploded Iranian drone ordnance. Reinforcements were sent after these incidents. Nearly 50,000 US troops are already stationed in the Middle East, with 2 Navy aircraft carrier strike groups and a Marine Expeditionary Unit also deployed. They continued to reinforce troops and greatly increase their presence. On top of that, the United States has been conducting airstrikes targeting all of Iran for 12 consecutive days. Most notably, the scope of the airstrikes is gradually expanding. In the beginning, the airstrikes mainly targeted Iran's coastal areas, but now they have expanded to the Iraq border region and western Iran. Recently, they have even launched attacks on Tehran, the capital of Iran. In fact, they are conducting airstrikes on all regions except for eastern Iran. Furthermore, while they previously targeted only military facilities, now they have also begun striking civilian facilities. Iran has also threatened to retaliate against US actions. According to an AP report, Abbasara, the Iranian foreign minister, stated in a post on X that any attack on Iran, including our infrastructure, will be met with a strong and resolute response. Minister Abbasara also called Iran's defense principle an eye for an eye. Iran is now targeting energy and desalination facilities in the Gulf and attacking US military bases in response to US strikes, causing the war to escalate. So the question is, will the US actually go as far as deploying ground troops to mainland Iran? Based on the movements confirmed so far, it's hard to say that the US is in a full-scale preparation stage for deploying large ground forces, but there is analysis suggesting that the US is securing operational capabilities to choose from various military options if necessary. Current movements differ from how the US acted in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. At that time, tens of thousands of ground troops were stationed long-term for occupation and security missions. The US is now focusing on special operations units, air power, and medical support systems. This is seen as a way to quickly strike limited targets instead of deploying large-scale troops. Special operations units handle missions unlike regular infantry, such as gathering intelligence deep in enemy territory, eliminating key targets, or conducting precision strikes on specific facilities. If the United States considers operations targeting Iran's nuclear facilities, missile command systems, or military leadership, special forces are likely to play a key role. The United States currently has 2 main military scenarios to choose from. First, maintain current pressure with ongoing airstrikes. The US military can keep using its air and naval power to strike Iran's military and missile sites, weakening Iran's response capabilities. This approach has the advantage that the US can apply continuous pressure while reducing the risk of casualties. The second option is limited special ops. This involves conducting precision strikes on specific targets inside Iran or neutralizing missile launch facilities and command centers. Since it can weaken Iran's military without sending many troops, this is an option the United States might consider. The United States' main focus now seems to be ensuring it can respond quickly when needed rather than expanding the war. Military power, regardless of whether it is actually used, also serves to show the opponent what options are available. The forces currently moving to the Middle East are being seen as preparations by the United States to be able to choose a stronger response in the event of a conflict with Iran. The international community is taking rising Middle East tensions very seriously. Especially with the news that the UK has temporarily withdrawn its diplomatic staff from Iran, there is analysis that the current situation is going beyond a simple military clash and affecting diplomacy and security as well. The British Foreign Office announced that due to the ongoing security situation, it has temporarily withdrawn its staff from Iran as a precautionary measure. However, they said the embassy has not completely suspended operations, and essential diplomatic work continues remotely. The withdrawal of diplomats is a measure taken when the local situation is unstable or when it is deemed necessary to protect nationals, and it is being seen as a sign that the level of risk in the country has increased. The British government has once again advised its citizens to avoid traveling to Iran. For British nationals who are already staying in or visiting Iran, they have urged them to closely monitor the local situation and carefully assess the risks associated with their stay. This seems to be a precaution in case ongoing military conflict causes safety issues for foreigners. The decision by the UK to withdraw its diplomats is being seen as a sign that the security situation inside Iran and in the surrounding region has become that much more unstable. Depending on how the level of military response between the US and Iran changes in the future, other countries may also take similar measures. Meanwhile, in the Red Sea region, the movements of the Houthi rebels are becoming more aggressive. The Houthi rebels recently claimed that they carried out drone and missile attacks on 2 Saudi Arabian oil tankers passing through the Red Sea. Reports of oil tanker attacks in the Red Sea are causing significant tension in the international shipping industry. This attack is drawing attention because the Houthi rebels are now enforcing their previously announced maritime blockade of Saudi Arabia. The Houthis warned they might attack ships that ignore their maritime control measures. If this incident is repeated, there is a growing possibility that ships passing through the Red Sea will change their routes due to safety concerns. Some shipping companies are cutting back on Red Sea routes to avoid Houthi rebel threats. Previously, the Red Sea and the Suez Canal were used as the fastest maritime route connecting Asia and Europe, but as the risks have increased, some ships are now choosing to detour around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa. Here, the longer sailing distance raises fuel and insurance costs and may disrupt logistics schedules. In fact, after the blockade threats from the Houthi rebels, the number of ships passing through the Red Sea has decreased compared to before. It is reported that when comparing before and after the blockade declaration, the traffic volume has decreased by about 34%. While a full maritime blockade hasn't occurred, international logistics are increasingly strained as shipping operators opt for alternative routes to avoid risks. In particular, the Red Sea is a crucial maritime route for the transportation of global crude oil and goods. If instability persists here, it may cause crude oil transport delays, higher shipping costs, and rising chances that Middle East military tensions could impact the economy. The main challenge in expanding these military operations is the cost. The United States is quickly increasing its military resources in the conflict with Iran. Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, told Congress this week that the United States has spent over $37.5 billion, or about 52 trillion won, on military operations linked to Iran. The problem is that if additional forces are deployed in the future, the costs are likely to increase even further. Military operations constantly rack up huge costs, from running overseas bases to troop movements, logistics support, aircraft operations, and ammunition use. Especially if operations continue in the Middle East for an extended period, the financial pressure on the US government will inevitably increase. Additionally, rising global oil prices and disruptions in maritime shipping are increasing the economic burden. The United States must keep extra troops for operations and continue deploying forces to defend allies. Given the costs of restocking ammunition and equipment upkeep, a prolonged conflict will increasingly strain the defense budget. Here, the US Congress is also taking steps to back military action. On July 22, the US House passed the National Defense Authorization Act, approving a $1.15 trillion defense budget for next year, or about 1,700 trillion won. In addition, they also passed a budget bill of $95 billion, or about 140 trillion won, to supplement the additional defense costs incurred during a war with Iran. However, it is still unclear if the Senate will pass this budget bill. This is due to differing views in the United States on major military spending. However, the Trump administration is seen as having secured the financial basis to continue military operations through congressional budget support.